So I'm sure everyone remembers a few months back whenever Boba Fett's ship got its name changed, and whenever that happened, a lot of people were out there saying, a lot of, Disney Star Wars defenders, the ones who think that the sequel trilogy is so great and that Kathleen Kennedy should stay at Lucasfilm forever, all those people were saying that it's just a Lego set. It's just changed to fire spray for that Lego set because they wanted to sell it to little kids and they don't want it having Slave 1 on the package. And honestly, I can understand that argument a little bit, not because slave is a sensitive word for children or anything like that, but for children who follow Star Wars, for children who like Star Wars and their parents don't, if they want a ship or they want a toy bought and then the parents just have no idea about Star Wars, the parents have no idea who Boba Fett is or what this ship is, if they see Slave 1 on the cover of the Lego set, I can understand the argument being made that that might cause some parents to not buy that ship's Lego set for their children. I can understand that argument a little bit, but when it comes to the arguments of slave just being a sensitive word and that's why it should be censored on Slave 1's Lego set, that just doesn't make sense to me, especially coming from Disney. I think it's pretty hypocritical. If you don't understand why, you can look it up yourself. But let's just say that Disney deals with China in a very particular way that makes it very hypocritical that they think slave is a sensitive word. With that being said, it's not just a Lego set, and that's been revealed to us. It's not just a Lego set. We all didn't think it was going to be just a Lego set. The only people who thought that were the people who do love Disney Star Wars, the Disney Star Wars defenders, the Kathleen Kennedy defenders. They were trying to argue with us that it's just a Lego set. We shouldn't be mad, but it's not just a Lego set. This is more than just a Lego set. They are renaming the Slave 1. I guarantee you will never see this ship be called Slave 1 ever in Star Wars going forward. Doesn't matter who's making the stuff. It doesn't matter if it's Kathleen Kennedy's group with Pablo Hidalgo and the High Republic crew making Boba Fett content, or if it's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. It will never be called Slave 1 in live action and animation and books and comics. It doesn't matter. It will never be called Slave 1 in Star Wars content going forward. And I just think that this is another example of Star Wars being completely mishandled, and it has to go to the top. This has to fall on Kathleen Kennedy just being worried about the wrong things, and it's not just Star Wars now, it's Marvel, and every release studio is just worried about the wrong things now. They're worried about pleasing this small minority on Twitter who only cares about political things that go on with their shows and their movies and their content, instead of just making good content. I know that point's been beat to death, but it's just so true. These studios just don't care anymore about making good content. They only care about doing stuff like changing the name Slave 1 to Fire Spray. That's the only thing that they care about now. And luckily, Star Wars has two of the people who still do care about making good Star Wars content with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. But the day that Jon Favreau leaves and the day that Dave Filoni leaves, if that ever does happen, we're going to be in some big trouble. And really, the rest of Hollywood is in big trouble because they don't have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. There is not, people try to say that they're not that much different than everyone else. People try to say that they're not that special. It's just Star Wars was so bad off that they finally got some good creatives in there and now they can make good content. That's just not true. That's just straight up not true. Kevin Feige, who has been praised for 15 years now for making the Marvel Cinematic Universe so great, is now falling into the trap where he doesn't really care about the quality of his content anymore. He just wants to appease that same Twitter mob that Kathleen Kennedy wants to appease. And you can see that with the Eternals movie, or not the Eternals movie, but WandaVision, also Eternals. I haven't seen it yet, but all the stuff coming from Eternals is kind of saying the same thing. But look at what he said about WandaVision and what he said about a lot of the other shows as well. Doctor Strange was clearly edited out of the post-credit scene in WandaVision. You can see his shadow flying through the air. He was clearly edited out, and when Kevin Feige was asked why he was edited out, he said it was because he didn't want another white male coming to save the day. And he's also doing a Star Wars movie. He's producing a Star Wars movie with Chloe Zhao, who just directed The Eternals, which is, got a 50% or 56% critic score, and then got an 86%. It opened at 86. I believe it's dropped to maybe 83 now. Audience score, which is, it's behaving exactly how the Rise of Skywalker audience score behaved, which was very strange because it was, it's pretty much confirmed that the Rise of Skywalker audience score was doctored. They do it all the time. They doctored the Masters of Universe Revelations, the Kevin Smith stuff. They doctor it all the time. Rotten Tomatoes is kind of irrelevant at this point, but people still do put some stake in it for whatever reason. But The Eternals has gotten really bad reviews, and now we have Kevin Feige, who is just totally obsessed with politics, way more than he's obsessed with making good content with Marvel. And you can see that with the quality drop in Marvel. You can see that with how much, how political he's been getting in his public statements. And now he's coming to do a Star Wars movie and bring in Chloe Zhao, who just did an Eternals movie that was really, really poorly received. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet, and I do want to see it, so I will see it kind of soon, and then I'll give my own opinion. But it's really poorly received so far by general audiences, by diehard Marvel fans. nobody's really loving this movie. Even the people who don't hate it, they're not really loving the movie. You know, it's not like Guardians of the Galaxy where people didn't know the characters and then the movie came out and everyone just fell in love immediately with the movie, with the characters, with the whole story surrounding Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, it's totally different. And now we have stuff like, you know, Fire Spray, or Slave 1 being changed to Fire Spray. And like I said, it's not just a Lego set. You can see that with this article right here. Star Wars quietly changed another iconic Boba Fett feature. They're just changing stuff all the time. I believe they came out with a set of merch where it said Fire Spray and it had Boba Fett's ship on it. So it's confirmed not just a Lego set. They're completely changing the name of Slave 1 to Fire Spray, and I just think it's really stupid. It's really idiotic. You know, you could come up with a million adjectives: moronic, naive, whatever you want to say. It's stupid. It's stupid, and it just proves once again that they're worried about the wrong things. Kathleen Kennedy and everyone else, all of her disciples, are just worried about the wrong things. They're not worried about telling good stories. And like I said, the point has been beat to death. But it's true, and it's proven true over and over again. They're worried about pushing these political agendas. They're worried about appeasing these weirdos on Twitter, these, you know, very small minority of people who don't care about the content that Star Wars is actually creating. They only care about the politics that are being pushed in the Star Wars content, when most of us are out here just wanting good content. And we want it void of politics. We don't want any kind of politics in our stories. We just want good Star Wars. You know, if we have Star Wars politics in there, that's totally fine. You know, people always make the argument the prequels have politics in it. It was kind of universally accepted politics, though. Whatever. I don't feel like getting into that argument right now. It's different. It's just different. It didn't have identity politics in the prequels. You know, and that's what people are mostly obsessed over nowadays. So I just think it's really stupid. I think it's really idiotic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you feel about them changing Slave 1 changing Slave 1 to Fire Spray? What do you think about Kevin Feige coming to do a Star Wars movie and bring Chloe Zhao over to do it as well? Like I said, really iffy about it. I was really excited about Kevin Feige at first coming over to Star Wars because he is a big Star Wars fan. He's made that very clear, and he's also been very, very successful with the MCU. But now he's kind of getting really, really obsessed with politics, just like every other studio is. And, you know, I thought Kevin Feige would be a little bit different because he seemed like he was, you know, he seemed like, you know, he's a legendary producer now. He seemed like he was different from all the other ones, but it looks like he is no different. It looks like he's just going to come over and do the same thing that he's been doing in Marvel recently. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. If you did enjoy this video, though, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the links to that in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you in the next one.